Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Wa alhamdulillah. Ahlan wa sahlan. You know, another late night session with the brothers. And what we going to be discussing, Bismillah Allah Ta'ala, is major and minor sins. Right? What's the difference? Cause, effects, the 7 great destructive, hell-bound sins. So let's get to it. So, a little bit before we started to record for the YouTube, it was we were just having a little lightweight discussion. So what I'm basically explaining to them with the dawah, because when you read hadiths, alhamdulillah, it speaks on how society will become an inverted society. So inverted, where it says it's going to be flipped inside out. What's right is wrong. What's wrong is right. Men will act like women. Women going to be acting like men. Some of the specific things, like it said in the hadith, the liars will be deemed the truthful ones, and the truthful ones will be deemed the liars. So as we having a discussion about it, and some of the call to Islam and some of the things that you face. So what I'm explaining to them is this, and inshallah everybody can benefit from this. When you look at all of the prophets and messengers that Allah Azza wa Jal al-Muqtadir sent to mankind, why was they sent? Why was they sent? They were sent to call the people back to what's right and to stop doing what isn't right, to establish the laws, the criteria, and the things that Allah Azza wa Jal told them to set, so that they can be the inhabitants and inheritors of Jannah. So when you look at all of the prophets, how many of them didn't face turmoils? Because all they was doing was saying to the people, we got to stop this corruption. Our Creator is not pleased with what's going on this earth. There's shirk. There's just a whole plethora of bad deeds being committed. People are falling victim to what Shaitan wants them to fall victim to, because he was envious of Adam. They both did some things. So Adam, along with Shaitan, got kicked out of Jannah, out of paradise, and was told, informed, as Quran al-Kareem tells us, they banished the earth to be enemies to one another. So when you look at Rasulullah wa Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the society that he lived in, right? You had a lot of idol worships. You know, they was even creating their gods. They building and making the statues, at least for some of the other people that was involved in shirk. throughout different times, at least it was something they didn't create, like the sun, the moon, the water, the oceans, the wind. You know, these individuals, and we'll touch on where some of that even started to come from. Well, maybe not, because I don't want this to get too long. But I am gonna make a statement though. So they worship their own idols. There was a lot of adultery, fornication, loose, reckless sex, alcoholic. People was alcoholics, dealt with other intoxicants. Unjustifiable murders. People was killing their own daughters. So when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to inform the people that Allah is not pleased with this and it's time to change, they didn't want to change. They didn't want to change, so much so because they didn't want to lose the status and the wealth that they was able to establish from all of this corruption. You see? So much so that they didn't want it to change. They wanted to kill the Rasul for telling people to be good people. Y'all gotta stop this drinking. Y'all gotta stop dealing with these intoxicants. Y'all gotta stop ripping the people off when you're doing business. Y'all gotta stop loan sharking. Y'all gotta stop dealing with interest. Y'all gotta stop committing adultery, fornication, unjust murders. Now listen to this though. When you look at Quran al-Kareem, do you know that these people had the nerve to call Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam a madman for saying things like this? He's a madman. He went crazy. He's insane. That show you how twisted up their mind was. So not to drag it along, so like with the brothers, like the conversation that we having and me breaking that down, to bring it to a whole point, that's the reason why, like right now with the society is so inverted, we live in a society like what they lived in. Okay? We live in a society like what they lived in. So we don't really give dawah to the kuffar anymore on a massive basis. I even heard Imam Siraj Rahaj a few years ago when he came back to the scene, and they was asking him like questions about the difference he see in the deen now and back in his heyday, and he said the dawah is missing. The dawah is missing, right? And so we don't give dawah to the kuffar like that anymore, but we give dawah to the Muslims, right? And what you will start to notice is when you give dawah to the Muslims, when you call them to what Rasulullah was calling the people to, you get the exact same backlash from the Muslims. Because society is so inverted. Like right now, let's say it's a Muslim and it's a Muslim and they just a criminal. They're an adulteress, they're a fornicator, they deal with all sorts of intoxicants, right? And then a Muslim comes to a group of Muslims and start giving them dawah about that's wrong, right? They'll talk about the one that's calling them to right. They'll say things like, hey man, I kind of feel like I kind of feel like the brother making fun of all the alcoholic drug users, I ain't really feeling what he said about all the people with girlfriends that's fornicating and committing adultery. You know what I'm saying? They're reacting and responding the same way when the Rasul used to deal with the people. How can we stop his call? How can we put a stop to this? So this is what we discussing, because you're starting to see this everywhere. You know, even when the kids shot up the Eid in Philly, and the imams came out and started to try to come up with a program to make it better, and they bashed them. You know, but the people who was in the shootings and the people who just live that lifestyle, they need to leave them alone. This between them and Allah. Now imagine if that was from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In those days, just to look at everything that was going on and say, yeah, that's just between them and Allah. You know what I'm saying? Allah knows what's in their heart. But the strange thing is, they was kuffar. But right now, the Muslims is so backwards and inverted that the Muslims will defend the criminals, right? And try to end the call of Quran and Sunnah. Man, you know, I don't like that, man. I don't like the way he said that about the Muslims that sell dope. I don't like how he said that, man. I don't like how she said that about the Muslims that's out here scamming other Muslims. That wasn't right. They ain't had to say that. I feel, and this is the crazy part. You could say this to Muslims and have this conversation. They'll sit around and say, well, man, I don't like that. I don't like how she did that. I don't like how she did that. They always trying to be this way. They need to quit backbiting. But in reality, what they doing is backbiting. But what the other person doing is trying to enjoin the good in order to forbid the evil. That's from our deen, to enjoin the good and forbid the evil. But right now, what you have is the Muslim members who don't want to leave the gangs alone. They got some type of justification. Let an imam get on the minbar and say something about gangs. The imam is wrong. But that's what he's supposed to do. That's what Islam say that we're supposed to do. See, the problem is, everybody's supposed to say something. Don't you know that in the Quran al-Kareem, there's some ayats that say, if one person is bringing some fitna, that all the Muslims are supposed to click up and fight that person and put a stop to whatever type of fitna they bring it, gang banging, whatever criminal activity, fornicating, whatever it is. The Muslims supposed to come together and stomp that out. But instead, the ones, just like how the Quraysh came together, and the people of Mecca at that time who was kuffar, they came together to kill the Muslims and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to where they had to leave and go to a Christian country, because the Christians weren't gonna let them idolaters, them idol worshippers, come up in their land and touch them Muslims, man, because they was on something righteous. You know what I'm saying? They had to flee to a Kafir country, a Christian country, just to be safe from some idolaters. And then eventually from that they had to go to Medina. All because they were saying, we got to stop all this killing, tribalism, which right now is the same thing as gangs. They was just calling them tribes. All this dealing with all these different intoxicants, adultery, fornication, all these like intoxicants, right? Right now, if you do the same thing with the Muslims, They're going to harm you with their tongue. They're going to backbite you by calling, like if the imam get up on the minbar and say a match is this and that, and somebody feel like it apply to them, they'll say the imam backbit them. But they'll go somewhere, that's why I don't like the imam. See, the imam think he this, the imam think he all of that. You know what I'm saying? Up there on the minbar backbiting. But in reality, they the ones who backbiting. And they lying. And they slandering. But they don't know it. And this is what we have to prepare ourselves for, because we are dealing with an inverted society. So that's why right now we dealing with major and minor sins, because sins affect everything. It affects how you deen. It affects whether you go to Jannah, whether you go to the hellfire. Sins is the kryptonite to your deen. So let's get to it. So right here you have, and we gonna get to intoxicants, because let me go through this quick, because I want to get to intoxicants real fast. So major and minor sins. We got a couple of Quran ayats. Let me pull it up with my phone. I should have been more prepared. So, Surah 4, ayat number 31. This ain't the only ayat about it, but this the one we gonna choose. Ayat number 31. I said 34, my bad. Stock for the law. See if I see. So, ayat number 31. This is a very serious principle. Very serious principle. Right? So number 31. If you avoid the major sins which are forbidden to you, right? So let me write that. Avoid major sins. If you can do it. If you can avoid them, right? If you avoid the major sins forbidden to you, then we will absolve, we will expiate the minor sins and admit you into a noble entrance. Y'all see that key? Admit you into a noble entrance. The door to Jannah, the paradise, to be amongst the honorable, that door be open for you. What's the key though? Avoid the major sins, then we will forgive, expiate, forgive, expiate the minor sins. Now, that's a deal. What comes along with that key is an obligation. And it's clear in Quran al-Kareem. If you avoid the major sins, then we will forgive and expiate the minor sins. Now, two things. It lets you know there's major sins and there's minor sins. This Quran al-Kareem, Arabic and English translation. One, your minor sins won't be forgiven if you are committing major sins, baby. So if you up on major sins, your minor sins won't be expiated. They won't be done away with. So when it comes to things like going from one salat to the next salat, and they say you forgiven for your sins, those only for minor sins. One Jumar to the next. The sins forgiven to you make wudu and then you go to Jumar, do this, and your sins forgiven. Those minor sins. You do this for Ramadan and you fast and do this, and then your sins from one year to the next, those are for minor sins. But there's a contract. If you don't avoid the major sins, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. And Allah Azza wa Jal is telling us. And see, some of the beauty of it is, let me go to ayat number 26, where I got up there on the board, right? When you go to ayat number 26 in the same surah, it starts off with Allah saying, Allah wishes to make clear what is lawful and what is unlawful. Allah wishes to make it clear to you and to show you the ways of those before you and accept your repentance. Allah is all-knower, all-wise, right? And it is Allah's will to turn you in grace, but those who follow their desires wish to see you deviate entirely from Allah's way. This could be Muslims. Like right now, I know instances of Muslims who don't do nothing. They don't pray, they don't fast, they in the streets, all type of stuff. But then when they see a Muslim who's doing something, they always want to tell them they don't have to do it. Oh, you ain't got to do that. That ain't really necessary. Something like, you don't got to raise your hands and dua. But they don't do nothing. You don't even make dua. And if people listen to you, then next thing you know, they end up not doing anything either. And it's starting to get ridiculous, man. It's always the Muslims who not doing nothing, and they criminals and got all type of different things. Not saying that it's impossible for them to be right, but they always the ones trying to tell somebody that they don't need to do something or that doesn't have to be done. But they'll defend bid'ah and shirk. They will defend some bid'ah and shirk, but then try to stop people from doing ibadah. It's inverted. Just imagine that. The call that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent with. If you had that same conversation with Muslims, oh man, you trying to be funny, you picking on Muslims, you trying to call people out. No, this is what come with the deen, huh? This is what come with the deen, Hook T. But you have to understand what comes from it on this end is the hatred that you're going to receive from the people who don't want to clean themselves up. That's what come with it. So, just to give y'all a little bit more, I'll read another ayat or two. And it says, Allah wishes to lighten the burden for you because mankind was created weak. See what I'm saying? So, O you who believe, another warning in there. Eat not up your property amongst yourself unjustly, except it to be a trade amongst you by mutual consent, and do not kill yourselves. Now, these ayats don't kill yourself. Certain things like smoking cigarettes is killing yourself. You don't want to, eating too much bad foods is killing yourself. You're not supposed to indulge in these. And then that's when it comes to, and whoever commits that through aggression and injustice, we will cast them in the hellfire. And it's easy for Allah to do that. And then that's when it comes to the ayat that I gave. So it's giving you the key. See, these things is going to have Allah cast you in the hellfire because it's easy for Allah to do it. But if you avoid the major sins that's forbidden for you to do, we will expiate your small sins for you and admit you into a noble entrance, Jannah, giving you a key to that door. Who wouldn't want it? Who wouldn't want it? See, we in a world right now where the individual that's giving you those keys and breaking these down for you is a person that need to shut up. But the person who said, hey man, come, hey look man, I know a few females, man, let's go over there, man, let's get us some pills, let's get us something to drink, let's get us something to smoke on. Hey man, I got a little scheme over here going, man, we could get us a few haram dollars so we can try to get up out of all this debt we under. The ones who calling the Muslims that don't need to shut up though. And you can't say nothing about that. Hey, man, y'all quit corrupting them kids, man. Y'all quit corrupting them sisters, man. Y'all quit corrupting the Ummah. Oh, man, dude always saying something. Don't you know, knucklehead, that this is what comes from Quran al-Kareem? This is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent with. So that means it's what? It's the sunnah to do that. But see, some of these individuals so infected with the whispers of shaitan that they inverted. What's good is bad and what's bad is good. That's Majnun. Okay? So you got to understand your deen and you got to be careful. So let's move forward. So the difference between major sins and minor sins, your major sins, a punishment or a curse from Allah in this life or the next or in the grave. Direct punishment. So that's how you know it's a major sin. If it's a punishment or a curse from Allah in this life, while you're alive now, in the next life or in the grave. Those are major sins. And we'll touch on some. Minor sins, and then major sins, you have to make tawbah for them. You can't just say astaghfirullah on a major sin and it's good. No, you have to do tawbah for major sins. Right? And then there's some specific ones also have some expiations to go along with the tawbah. So minor sins, you can do istighfar, astaghfirullah, and then that basic principle from the deen of Islam is to follow up your bad deeds with a good one. So you can follow up those bad deeds with a good one after you do your istighfar for your minor sins, and then your stuff like make wudu and your salats, you know. The one who make wudu is like the one taking 5 baths and all that stuff. Those things do away. That's how you get your minor sins up off of you. But don't ever leave out. If you want some major sins, you just doing yourself dirty. So, number 2, what it does is, minor sins, they cause iman to fluctuate. So like they say, iman goes up and down. That's due to sins. That's due to your sins. Don't get me wrong. Major sins cause your iman to fluctuate, but you could mess around and apostate. You could just be running around talking about you're a Muslim, but as far as the deen of Islam, 90% of it is gone. But the minor ones, your iman just going up and down. And then you could lose your good deeds. Your good deeds could blow away and act like ashes. It hardens your heart to the point where no Islam can really get in it. Because like I say, when you do one thing, then a black dot gets on it, black dots get on it, then pretty soon your whole heart is covered with black dots. So now your heart is black and hard from all those sins. And it could lead, you could end up going astray or deviating from Siratul Mustaqim. You could go away from the straight path. Instead of being a prime example of a Muslim like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you could be the exact opposite by being a criminal. See, these type of things is going astray. Especially if you're a criminal in Islamic law, Sharia, and in the laws of society. You done deviated and went astray. But see, these minor sins lead to that because, like I say, when you do one sin, it starts to get easier for you. And then that one sin leads to 2 sins, which leads to 3 sins, which leads to 4 sins, and then before you know it, you live in a life of sin and done forgot all about it. See, because you done forgot about Allah as a wajib, so Allah done caused you to forget about yourself. This is why sins is dangerous. Now, continuing minor sins can end up becoming a major sin, right? Because you can become a dhalim, part of the dhalimun. So when you go to your Quran ayat, right, one thing that it says, now this is how you know becoming a dhalim is a major sin, because Allah doesn't guide the dhalimun. That's a direct punishment from Allah. So being a dhalimun is a major sin. And what else does it say? So when you become a dhalimun and Allah doesn't guide you, although you may, and like it say, they're going to choose error over guidance and think that they guided it right. So they're going to be tricked. They're going to be tricked. This is Allah's words, not mine. So when you become a dhalim, the dhalimun, a dhalim, which is some people translate it as a wrongdoer, an evildoer, a one who does a whole bunch of evil deeds, to no accord, is basically a dhalimun, an evildoer, right? So now see, this is the sad part. What you can be doing might be good in your society, but in Islam, it's evil. See, you can trick yourself, right? Y'all getting it? Alhamdulillah. So, also it says, Allah doesn't guide a dhalim, right? So when you're not getting guided, you can become what? A transgressor. How can you become a transgressor? One sin leads to two sins. Two sins lead to three sins. Three sins lead to four sins. And before you know it, you're just living a life of sins. And now you have become a transgressor. And then who falls into that category? According to Quran al-Kareem, Allah Azza wa Jal does not love the transgressors, those who exceed the limits. So that's how continuing minor sins can become a major sin. Because you can lead yourself to a point where Allah is not guiding you and Allah doesn't love you. But due to your crime that Allah Azza wa Jal is allowing you to get away with on this earth, you may feel like you're a successful person because you have things, even if you just in all types of debt. You see what I'm saying? Even if you just going through 1,000,001 turmoils. Now, before we get to the things, because I want to ask y'all a question. Let me ask y'all a question, right? If I was to give y'all $2 million a piece to go to war against Allah Azza wa Jal, would you do it? Of course you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't. If I was to give you $2 million, if I was to give all 7 of y'all $2 million a piece, would you go to war with Allah Azza wa Jal? All of them say no. Like, that's totally insane. But what do you think them credit cards will do? What do you think all that riba and interest payments is going to do? So look, let's get to the 7 destructive great sins. So you got 1. Of course, we know shirk, right? And we know Allah Azza wa Jal does not forgive the ones that die up on shirk. And then you got your shirk, you got your major shirk, you got minor shirk, and then you got your hidden shirk, your inconspicuous shirk, right? Which Riyah is one of them, right? So you already know that's a major sin. Shirk leads you to the hellfire. Shirk leads you to being apostate. Shirk leads you to deviating, right? Then you got sorcery, magic, and cursing. Black magic as well. So one thing that a lot of people don't realize cursing is wishing bad on people. You know what I'm saying? Because when you understand the evil eye, you cursing people like, man, I hope dude lose his job. That's cursing. You see what I'm saying? Some people don't know what they call it. Claim it, put it out on the air. Put it in the air. Like some of them people, man, who be in abusive relationships or something go on, and they be like, oh, he gonna end up going to jail. He gonna end up doing this. I'm claiming it in the name of Jesus. That's cursing. You even have some Muslims who fall into other things with other Muslims, and they be like, man, may Allah Azza wa Jal break his back. In some circumstances, that's cursing. These things are major sins, right? And they lead to the hellfire, right? They lead to major punishments and curses from Allah Azza wa Jal. Number 3, unjustly killing. Killing somebody over something that you could have talked to them about. Anything that isn't legislated in the Sharia. Killing somebody for a reason that isn't legislated in Sharia. And when you go to your Quran ayat, all these things talk about the type of punishments and stuff that you're going to get in the hellfire, especially when you touch the hadiths. That one, number 4, riba, usury, interest. Now, because of that, I want to pull up a couple of Quran ayats, and I made sure I wrote them down, right, to show y'all some of the dangers of usury, riba, things that we take for granted, right? And some of us so heavily bogged down in riba. Now let's get into it. Let's get into riba real quick, inshallah ta'ala. So, first one we're going to go to is Surah 2, ayah number 275. Let's check this ayah out. And y'all keep in mind that question I asked y'all. For $2 million, would you go to war with Allah Azza wa Jal? Because some of us don't take these things serious, or we've been tricked. Not necessarily tricked. Sometimes, like with the ayat that I read from Surah An-Nisa about the individuals who fall into what their heart desires, the way it's going to deviate them and all of that. Sometimes what we desire will have us fall into riba and won't even care about the circumstances at all. So look, 275, right? Those who involve themselves in interest will stand on the day of judgment like those who have been driven mad by the shaitan. And some translate it as like a person that's been beaten by shaitan. Now imagine somebody you seen just severely beaten, and then imagine shaitan beating a person like that. Your whole aqua is gonna be insane. And I'm gonna be honest, some of the Muslims that I know that's heavily involved in riba, when you talk to them about Islam, they sound like a crazy person. Like you would really look at them and be like, I'm gonna be honest, just me personally, whether you call it a judgment or whatever, the Muslims that I know that's heavily involved in riba, when you sit down and talk to them about Islam, they sound like a crazy person. The Muslims that I know. And I'm talking about Islamically crazy. Right? So look, that's one of the things that's going to go on for those who involve themselves in riba and usury and dealing with interest, right? So look what it says. They will, on the day of resurrection, they will stand like they've been a person that's been beaten by shaitan, leading them into insanity. Now, you're going to be raised up the way you left. So this is really letting you know, when they get stood up, they're going to be insane. That's why they going crazy on the earth already. Shaitan already driving them insane. Time for Qiyam Aleo, Alhamdulillah. So listen. Now it says leading them into insanity. That is because they say, now look at this. It says that, and this is why Shaitan going to be able to whoop them and Allah is going to allow it. That is because they say, doing business, I don't consider it being riba. I'm just doing good business. I'm just a businessman, right? This is what it say. Trading is only like riba. I'm just doing good business. This isn't riba. This isn't interest. I'm just making a return on my investment. I'm a businessman, baby. Allah Azza wa Jal is going to tell you that's how they going to talk. And a lot of them I know that's like that. That's how they talk. I mean, I'm just doing good business. See the accuracy of Allah Azza wa Jal? So, whereas Allah has permitted doing business, but has forbidden riba. So how you going to say they the same? But we know why you going to say it's the same. Because Shaitan upside that noggin. Like Allah Azza wa Jal say. And by the time it's all the way over with, you going to be a Majnun person. So look at this. So whoever receives an admonition from his Lord and stops dealing with riba, then they shall not be punished for the past. His case for Allah to judge, right? His case is for Allah. So Allah, if you stop immediately right then and there, Allah will give you a pass depending on how much you done did and what's to it. But if you continue, but whoever returns to riba, such are the dwellers of the fire, where they will abide in forever. So one of the things about dealing with riba, usury, interest, Shaitan gonna let Allah Azza wa Jal gonna let Shaitan make you an insane person. All the way to the point when you get raised up on the day of judgment, you're gonna be standing there insane. That's one. Two, Allah gonna make you a dweller of the fire. Right? You gonna be in, and then it said, it even caps it off and say, and they will abide therein forever. Allah Azza wa Jal say they gonna abide therein forever. So for some of these people who in it be like, man, I got my shahada, I'm only gonna be in the hellfire for a little bit, but they heavily involved in riba, and been told 557,000 times that they involved in riba, and they still keep returning to it. They so-called read their Quran every Ramadan. They read this every year, and they still stay involved in it. Allah Azza wa Jal said they're going to be there forever. But check out the next one. So, and then it says, the next ayat we want to go to is 279. I'm going to put the rush on it, Shay. So look. And if you do not do it, take a notice of war from Allah and His Messenger. If you don't, for the ones who involved in riba, you at war with Allah. So like when I asked the brothers, if I gave y'all $2 million, would you go to war against Allah? No, of course not. But they'll go to the bank and get them loans, huh? So that we could shine. We'll go get all these different cars and motorcycles and trucks. You know what I'm saying? Just to shine on the city. Just so that you could go to war with Allah. A war you can't win. A war that you can't even see. Just so that you could get these credit cards and go to these furniture places and get these high interest furniture payments. You know, like one of the craziest things I ever seen. And this is one thing about it. Before I really understood what it was, I went and got some furniture, but it was 90 days same as cash. So I paid it where I didn't have to get no interest. You understand what I'm saying? Like this a major thing, but I'm telling you, I done seen people with house. They get a loan for a house, a gang of interest, a couple of vehicles that they ain't even paying on, so all type of late fees is inclining, and a bunch of interest, a whole bunch of credit cards so they can get a bunch of clothes, and then all the furniture in their house, they making interest payments on it. So basically everything to uphold their whole entire lifestyle, everything got interest on except for the food they buy, except for food and gas. Muslim. Just so that they could shine on the city, talking about Allah love them more than anybody. But you the one that Allah is at war with. So look what else it says, right? So you should have your capital sum. Deal not unjustly, right? And you should not be dealt with unjustly. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, beware of a war with Allah and His Messenger, man. This deen ain't nothing to play with. I'm gonna touch a couple of more ayats on riba, and then we gonna close it out. But we gotta talk about this intoxicants. So just another ayat real quick in Surah 4. Surah 4, just to show. We're going to go to ayah number 160. Let me hurry up. I know Cap's ready to get to what they need. Take my time. Okay, alhamdulillah. So look, ayah number 160, where it says, now check this out, just to show you how wrong riba has been for so long, right? So, for the wrongdoing of the Jews, so this Bani Israel, the ones who didn't become Christian, right? So, for the wrongdoing of the Jews, we made unlawful for them, right? We made unlawful for them certain good foods which had been lawful before, right? And for their hinder, and so because, right? And for their hindering many from Allah's way. Because they hinder so many people from Allah's ways, right? And because they was indulging in riba. Although they were forbidden from doing it. And devouring up the people's wealth by charging interest, right? So because of that, Allah says, and we have prepared for those disbelievers amongst them a painful torment. So not only is they hindering people from the way of Allah, they indulged in a whole bunch of riba when they know that they're not supposed to. Now this is before the Muslims had it. We just gonna sit there and do the same thing. We just gonna keep indulging in riba with all these warnings and punishments. But see, like I say, the Muslim who talk about this, you can't talk about that. You're throwing shots. That's wrong. But for the ones who want to do some riba, keep shining. See, the Muslims, they're going to encourage that. That's how backwards this world is. This is Quran al-Kareem. This is the speech of Allah Azza wa Jal. Let me touch one last one. Sword 30. So even just to give a little bit of hot, and then we're gonna get off this. But just even to show, look how much in it. So look at this right here. And to those who give a gift to others in order to get an even better gift back from them. Right? Right? Or just giving that to get a different favor. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me take it on a small scale. Let me be cool and take this person some McDonald's. And then later on, I know they're going to take me to the steakhouse. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and get my girl these little flowers and this and that. And then later on, she going to buy me some Jordans. The overlay for the underplay. This is what it's talking about in Quran al-Kareem. Right? So those who give gifts in order to get more from somebody else, right? And this also can include in giving people loans to get more money, right? Only seeking to giving something only to get more back from somebody else, right? And it says, my bad. I'm looking at, so I had to look at the Arabic for a second. So doing this is not going to increase with Allah. You see what I'm saying? It's not going to be an increase with Allah. You know what I'm saying? But Allah only increased that which is from zakat. When you're doing it for the purposes of Allah, when you're seeking Allah's pleasure, then it will be multiplied. So this right here, because this right here is referring, even when you touch the Arabic, it's referring to that. It's actually using the word riba. So this is also a form of riba. Like I said, I'm going to go, buy them some McDonald's real quick. And later on, they're going to take me to the steakhouse. Just little things like that. Just giving some type of example, because some people do play those type of games. You know what I'm saying? Some people do play those type of games. So that's it on riba. But y'all can see all the punishments and things that come with that, all associated with the hellfire. Shaitan get the chance to make you insane. Okay? So then, number 7, take an orphan's wealth or property. Right? Now keep in mind, in Islam, anybody that doesn't have a father is an orphan. It don't mean that you have both parents missing. So like, you have certain institutions, and I'm going to be careful because I don't want nobody around here to get to saying, oh man, I kind of feel like, the people who love to defend the criminals, but they hate for you to speak about what the Quran say about doing. They hate the job that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent with. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, you have certain institutions. We'll say a school. Hopefully using the word school should be safe. Or you have something like the boys club, where you as a amana, and some of these people is orphans that go there. They don't have no father or nothing. And they may have programs set up where they can make money. They got something for these kids to make money. But then you steal the money. Or you go out and do the job and keep all the money for yourself. That's taken from orphans. You know what I'm saying? You go knock door to door. You know what I'm saying? Hey, can we over here starving, we ain't got nothing to eat. I want to feed these kids, they need shoes. And then they be like, oh, and then they give you $200-$300. and then you give those orphans $20 a piece. These things is major sins. Now, keep in mind how we touching this. If you doing any of this, so let's say every day of your life you on some ripper, credit cards, multiple car payments, all type of stuff with mad ripper, giving gifts in order to get more, unjustly taken from the wealth of the orphans, trying to set up programs to eat off of them but don't feed them. You doing better than them when the money is for them. You doing all this. How you expect it for your minor sins to be forgiven? So now you're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to be held accountable for your minor sins on top of the major sins that you're doing. That's crazy, man. A'udhu mentality. So showing one's back to the enemy on the battlefield or in certain situations, being a coward, not defending or standing up for Islam, even if it's against Muslims. See, some of us will allow other Muslims to corrupt other Muslims in our face. We won't even argue with them. We won't even do them like this. What some of that stuff they used to do back in the day? We won't even do this. Oh man, I don't feel like he should say nothing about the Muslims being corrupted, man. That's kind of wrong, man. I think that's kind of arrogant. Quit showing your back. Quit showing your back. This is a major sin. You sitting up talking about these individuals shouldn't be defending Islam? But anyway, so then coming into number 7, accusing, innocent people. This don't only apply to women. Accusing, innocent people. Saying that they cheating, like your spouses and this and that, and they actually innocent. You know what I'm saying? Some of these women, especially, in our situation, it's a little different because we can be going through the process of getting another. Some women are sitting there, like some of the most craziest things on earth is, and I'm going to tell y'all something funny, man, on a sympathy plea, where people don't be paying attention. But if you have somebody who has a wife and he's able to have 4 wives, in Islam we can have 4 wives. Let's say a brother have 4 wives, right? How can one wife say that the brother is cheating on her? How you accusing them of cheating? Especially when you want to go tell other people that. So, I'm going to tell y'all something that's funny. Just to show you how people don't pay attention. You got a brother, you got a sister. Divorced. So, these sisters is trying to help her get married. These sister husbands is also trying to help her get married. But then, right here, you had a brother who's married to somebody else. But they sitting around talking about it's some type of conflict. He's cheating on her. Maybe it's not clear whether divorce was made. Maybe she not understanding. How's she not understanding that sisters and other brothers trying to marry her to somebody else? What y'all saying? She trying to get married to somebody else with the help of some other Muslims while she's married? Obviously, she knows that she's not married. She just lying to y'all for a sympathy plea. But see, y'all don't pay attention to the whole circle of things, see? But see, soon to be knowing. How she so confused when his best friend allegedly trying to marry her off with somebody else, with his wife. Obviously, they know that they not married, right? Or is they done went that crazy that they trying to marry her off while she's still married to him and he's still around them? They ain't going insane, is they? So look, let's go ahead and wrap this up on intoxicants and clear up a few misconceptions. You notice intoxicants isn't in this list of 7. So this is from the Hadiths. Is intoxicants a major sin or a minor sin? Let's get a couple of votes. Is intoxicants a major sin? Or we'll say common. Or we'll say drinking. Is drinking a major sin? Let's see. All right. 5 say yes. And 2 say no. But 1 said leads. It could lead to major sins, right? So out of the 2, they say it could lead to major sins. So is intoxicants only drinking alcohol? 6 yes. 1 no. So 6 people say yes. Intoxicants is only alcohol. 1 person say no. 5 say it's a major sin. 2 people say no, but 1 out of the 2 say it could lead to major sins. All right, let's start with that. We're going to use Sahih Muslim, starting off. Sahih Muslim. Right? Beautiful hadiths. Beautiful hadiths. Right? And I love this right here. Let's clear up a misconception. 1. It was narrated that Ibn Umar, the son of Umar, so you know he got some status for the ones who feel like they need to know all the narrators and look into what's to them of hadiths. This is narrated by Ibn Umar, the son of Umar, right? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, every intoxicant is khamr. Let me repeat that. Every intoxicant is khamr. So anything that intoxicates you is the same as if you're drinking alcohol. Wine, beer, champagne, no matter what it is, anything that intoxicates you. So for these people who love smoking their weed, it's an intoxicant, baby. For the ones who love popping their pills, it's an intoxicant, baby. Even if it's something like ecstasy, which alters your mind state in your body, ecstasies and these different type of things, man, they still intoxicants, kid. These hookahs, these different cannabis vapes, heroin, tooting cocaine, smoking crack. Now let's say this right here. This on a common sense level, man. Because like I say, the guilty always gotta find an excuse. How on earth could you feel like tooting cocaine and heroin is worse than drinking, it's better than drinking beer? I can't drink no beer. I can't have a shot of Hennessy. But I could toot heroin and cocaine because that's not an intoxicant. I could smoke all the crack I want. I could do fentanyl. I could pop perks. Because ain't none of that worse than a can of beer. Ain't none of that worse than a shot of Hennessy. You sound like you been beaten insane by Shaitan. You got some ribble going on? You involved in some ripper. A can of beer is worse than somebody shooting heroin up their arm. Tooting fentanyl and heroin. Smoking meth. Drinking a beer is worse than that. All these new pills and different things. Perk 30s. Xannies. Come on, man. Let's just bust it down to a common sense level. Well, the Quran don't say nothing about tooting heroin and shooting up. So again, I repeat, every intoxicant is khamr. And every intoxicant is haram. All of it, man. All of it, man. So, for those who feel like intoxicants, we got 6 that say yes, 1 that say no. Y'all wrong. Every intoxicant is khamr. It's just whatever comes along with drinking. All intoxicants fall into that same category. If it alter the mind, mushrooms, intoxicant, baby. All your drugs, your cocaine, your fentanyl, your heroin, whether you're shooting it, tooting it, putting it on your tongue, mixing it with your weed, putting it on your Percocet, whatever people got going on, every intoxicant is considered a khamr. And every single intoxicant is haram. Someone is haram, guess what? It's gonna lead to something with the hellfire, baby. So listen to this. Let me go to Sunan Nasa'i. Matter of fact, hold on. Check this one out right here. Y'all gonna love this one right here. So it was narrated from Jabir that a man came from Jeshan. And Jeshan is in Yemen. So he came from a village in Yemen and asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about a drink that they used to drink in their land, which was made of corn and called al-mizr. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he didn't say it's khamr, he said it's an intoxicant, right? Rasulullah said it's an intoxicant. He said, no, Rasul said, is it an intoxicant? That's what the Rasul asked him, is it an intoxicant? He said, yes. The Messenger of Allah said, every single type of an intoxicant is haram. Allah has made a covenant. Well, whoever indulges in intoxicants, he will give to them a drink of mud of al-khabith, right? He will give to them a drink of mud of al-khabith. That's filth. That could be feces and all type of stuff, right? They said, "O Messenger of Allah, what is a mud of al-khabith?" He said, the sweat, the pus, and the juices of the people of hell. So all the sweat and excrements and everything that's coming from them in the fire is going to fill up in a glass. So this is for all the people who dealt with the intoxicants. You're going to drink the sweat and pus and filth that's coming off the body of the people in the hellfire. Is it worth it? Like even if a person, just imagine ending up in the hellfire. I would rather be in the hellfire and not have to drink that. Okay? Sahih Muslim, man. Sahih Muslim, man. Okay, we finna wrap it up. I got you, baby. I got you. I'm gonna answer that last question too. Okay, so right here, check out this right here. So Abu Bakr bin Abdul
So if you've
Rahman
been
bin
injured in an
Al-Harith.
accident that was not your fault, like a car accident, or a
Pardon me,
slip and
man. My
fall,
TV done
we can
came
help.
unmuted.
As a matter
Alright. So this is Sunan Nasa'i. Sunan Nasa'i. Abu Bakr bin Abdul Rahman bin Al-Harith narrated that his father said, I heard Uthman say, avoid khamr, and avoid intoxicants, for it is the mother of all evils. So intoxicants is from the mother of all evils. There was a man amongst those who came before you who was a devout worshiper and used to stay away from the people, kind of carry it like a monk. And he mentioned something similar. He said, avoid intoxicants, for by Allah, it can never coexist with faith, and soon one of you will expel the other. So people who deal with intoxicants, eventually it's going to affect their iman, right? And one is going to overpower the other one, right? One more. It is narrated that Ibn Umar said, whoever drinks khamr and deals with intoxicants and does not get intoxicated, his salat will not be accepted as long as that buzz or traces of that remains in their system, in their belly, or in their veins. And if he died while he in that state, so he just got a little buzz, he's not intoxicated from whatever it is that he's using. But if he died in that state, then he died a kafir. If he becomes intoxicated, his salah will not be accepted for 40 nights. Right? And if he dies during that, he will die a kafir. Who want that? Who want that? You see what I'm saying? Who want that? So one thing that we know from dealing with intoxicants, not just khamr, your pills, your weed, your alcohol, your beer. You see what I'm saying? And just because I'm Russian, it's another hadith in there that says, for the ones that deal intoxicants, they consider them as if they worship idols. It's the same to them as that you worshiping an idol. It's like you on shirk. One of the major sins. So as you can see all the stuff that comes along with number 7, with intoxicants, although it's not in the list of 7, it's clearly a major sin, because what? There's punishments from Allah in this life, the next life, the grave. There's punishments that come along with it. Your salat not being accepted for 40 days. And then there's also where it say, if you catch them drinking once, whip them with lashes. You catch them drinking twice, whip them with lashes. If you catch them drunk the 3rd time, dirt nap. Dirt nap. That's how serious they took it. You don't take a dirt nap, baby. If they catch you publicly intoxicated 3 times, it's over with. Now, 40 days. Your salat not accepted for 40 days. You drink Monday. That's 40 days, no salat. You smoke weed Monday. 40 days, your salat not accepted. You pop pills Monday. 40 days, your salat not accepted. You toot a little cocaine, a little heroin, some fentanyl, some meth. 40 days. But then you do the same thing on Tuesday. You do the same thing on Tuesday. When that 40 days is up, now you got another 40 days. You do the same thing on Wednesday. So look at that. Just dealing with intoxicants 3 days in a row. That's 120 days that your salat is not accepted. But you still have to make the salat because you owe it. 3 days of dealing with intoxicants, that's 120 days of no salat being accepted. So you take that to 6 days, right? So another 3 more days gonna take it to what? 240? 240 days for 6 days of no drinking. Y'all see where I'm going with this? Right? 240 days. If you add another 120 on that, what you get? 360 days. Right? You see where I'm going? 9 days of intoxicants, pills, weed, meth. 9 days, and that's a whole year your salat not accepted. But you still gotta make it. Now you add that up. And individuals so backwards. If you sit down and say, man, y'all brothers need to quit dealing with them intoxicants, man. Fulan and Fulan, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking to Fulan and this and that. Man, you need to quit sitting around there, man. You need to quit smoking that weed, man. Oh, man, I don't feel like he should have said that to the brother. Man, this man finna lose a whole year worth of salat. So if you take that, 9 days is 360 days, if my math is accurate. That's 360 days. 18 days. That's 2 years, baby. 2 years, no salat. Ramadan, everything. Because like I say, some people get high, pop pills, get drunk every day. What 30 days looking like? What 30 days looking like? But nobody should say anything. That's judging. Nah, bruh. Because one alcoholic, one pill popper, one weed smoker is going to turn into 2. That's going to turn into 3. That's going to turn into 4. And this not even including, like even when you get into the hadith, some of the things that they can fall into while they on them pills, while they high on that weed, while they full of that alcohol, or a combination of it all. They might have some beer, hard liquor, weed, and pills in their system. They might unjustifiably kill somebody in a car accident or over an argument. Now you done committed the next one. Then you might be on some riba already. You know what I'm saying? Then you might turn your back when you're around Muslims that need this type of stuff need to be said to them. Oh man, I don't care what they do. You should, because it affects you. Just like you're saying a demon. When one part of the body is hurting, all the body hurt. You understand? We are Muslims. The way you carry yourself out here, and this right here, this is what's even crazy about it. Everybody that know you, it ain't like you go in your house and not nobody at all know you on pills, weed, and drinking. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like it's a little secret between you and maybe one other person. Everybody know you. This public information. Why do I mention that? Because like I say, when people hide their sins, then Allah help them hide their sins. But when you expose it, Allah expose it. Imagine you drunk than a mug, man, sloppy drunk on pills, marijuana, and all type of stuff. and almost killed somebody in a car wreck, man. A motorcycle accident. You know what I'm saying? Pull your gun out and get the dumping. So we ain't even talking about the stuff you fall into. You might just pop some intoxicants and watch a game. You might mess around and get to fornicating. You might be married and start committing adultery. If you sitting up popping ecstasies and smoking weed and drinking, it's dangerous, man. But inshallah, man, it's been some benefit to the people. And finna go ahead and do what I gotta do, man. It's time for Tahajjud. Man, y'all brothers been great, man. It's been nice. It's always nice. It's always a pleasure. And I'm gonna answer that question you asked me, man. And I'm gonna do it on YouTube. Bump it. I'm gonna do it on YouTube. The brother asked me, you know, a couple of them, sometimes they come here to this city. They chill with me. I keep them under wraps. I don't take them to meet anybody. I don't bring anybody to meet them. We sit back. We grill a little lamb. We sit in here and have deep study sessions. We get to it. And like when we do certain classes and stuff, they basically like, why people in your city, you know, some of the Muslims that you know, why they don't do any of the classes with us, or why they don't come over come to the masjid with us. And I'm gonna be honest, like I done told them, one, and I'm just gonna be honest. Then, you know, people in this city, they watch these, right? They don't do this. They don't do this. Even if some of them didn't have to work, and I said, hey, I'm going to send y'all a link, man, to a class or whatever that we have, and me and some other brothers, they ain't going to show up. They not going to be there. It's intimidating, man. They don't do this. They don't read books. They don't study. I'm just going to be honest, man. Unfortunately, man, a lot of people have just fell into talking, you know, like talking, man. See, in Illinois, back in the day, having a gift of gab used to be a thing. Sometimes, man, here, for years I always referred to it as Hollywood speech. The notoriety that you feel like you may be getting for acting like you're going to do something, sometimes people chasing that. Hey, man, let's get together, man. We need to start a business, man. Let's get together and talk, man, and talk about starting us up a business, how we could get some money, how we could do this and how we could do that. And then y'all may get together, and you know, it might be 10 brothers, y'all sitting around. Yeah, so what type of business, this, and this? And might have some little food and laugh and giggle, talk about old times. But no business plan get made, nothing get accomplished. Then next thing you know, you meeting again, then you meeting again. And then all of a sudden, people who wasn't never even serious anyway, they arguing. But the conversation, so like everybody that they talk to, yeah, man, me and the brothers, man, we getting together talking about a business. Man, me and the brothers getting together, we talking about reading some books. But we really get together and do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Man, let's get together and talk about a class. Man, let's get together and bring some structure and talk about an introduction. It could be 6 people reading one book, and we could be on like lesson 7. And then somebody be like, man, let's get together and talk about some structure and let's talk about the introduction. And they ain't even cracked the book open. What we gonna have a discussion about an introduction for when we on lesson 7? That type of stuff. So you just, and I'm not, it ain't no knock to them, man. I'm not trying to speak down on them. I'm just telling the truth. This is not something that they do, man. This is not something that they do. And some of the things that you talk about, like with the conversations that we have, that I have with y'all, I could never have them with them. Because when you talk about real Islam, they take offense to it. And I can say wallahi. Then they gotta say crazy stuff. Oh, you think you better? Anybody, I have yet to come across anybody that really study, anybody that's really doing classes, like the people I'm in classes with, the imams that I talk to. I just had, what's this, Monday, Saturday. Man, I sat down with an imam that I've never even met before. And through some different circumstances, somebody gave them my number. And we got on the phone, and wallahi, man, me and this brother got on the phone, and it was like we knew each other for 1,000 years. And well, I say, like, it's like we just knew each other, like we just instantly clicked. And when you talking to somebody who like a imam that really does study, not somebody who was in jail talking, you know, and saying hey imam, none of that. Somebody who don't really want to study. When you having conversations with somebody like that, like, and they talking about a scenario, your mind that go through and start thinking of ayats and hadiths that go with that, like really go with that, not just talking. And then when you saying something to them, they mind go through the same thing. So when y'all talking, y'all really just building and elevating each other. But see, when you talk, so I have never yet, wallahi, I have not met anybody who really study. And people who I sit down from, I'm talking about all over the globe, who we sit down, can you teach me? Like they may have something that I don't have, and I got something that they don't have. We'll teach each other. One day I'm in class with them, next day in class with me. We'll grade each other, we have homeworks, we sit down and build off of each other. But see, here, if you do that, you can't have that conversation. You can't even have a conversation about Islam. Because you either think you better. Ain't nobody ever said that I study with. Anybody who a teacher, anybody who a graduate, anybody who sat down with some scholars, never said that. No matter what cities, anything. Wallahi, man, I be having invites to Egypt, all type of stuff, man. I'm welcome all over. Just this imam who I was just linked up, that we just had a phone conversation. We talked on the phone. Man, we hit it off so well. His home is my home. My home is his. You know what I'm saying? And then you know what they say? Man, there's some sisters out here, man. You say the word. Matter of fact, man, I got a couple of sisters in mind. It could be even a family member. We talked on the phone, man, and we got off the phone, and then later on got back on the phone. It's just different. Real Islam offend them. You know what I'm saying? Just like how I could be watching this video, right? And let's say 2 weeks ago, I was in Philly, right? And I'm talking about, but me and somebody else who I'm in Philly with, we have a conversation. They give me permission to talk about openly about what's going on. And that, you know, they give me permission to talk about it, and they want me to be detailed because it might inspire somebody else. For instance, the brother with the pictures, and he had the little crosses and different things. He told me to talk about it. It might inspire somebody else. But see, I'm talking about it on here as an inspiration for other people, and also just involved in bringing the lil up on the board. Somebody here, oh man, a brother always talking about us, man. Every time we turn around, he looking for something bad. And I don't even be talking about them. I don't even be talking about them. See, some of the things that I be talking about, and I'm not going to put it out there, but I have relatives that's married to non-Muslim women. So it's real easy for them to sit up and say, oh man, that brother talking about me and my wife. I ain't even seen them and their wife in years. But by them knowing me and this, that, and the third, if it do happen to apply to them, then they gonna take accountability and be like, you know what, I'm tripping. Because that's how Islam used to be. So you got you starting to have these type of Muslims. You got the type of Muslim who go to the masjid and the imam get up there and he get to cracking, and then some of them Muslims gonna be like, man, alhamdulillah. Some of them might start crying. Man, I needed that, man. Man, I thank you, Allah, for the imam sending me a message like that. And the man might not even know that he talking to them. It just happened to apply. But then you got the other ones. See, that's why I don't like listening to his cook bars. He too judgmental. You know what I'm saying? But these the ones who always too guilty. These be the ones who just can't leave gang banging alone. They can't leave a street life alone. They can't stop being a scam artist. They can't stop being involved in a whole bunch of riba. You know what I'm saying? They just not up. They just not on it. So just like they say, man, hit dogs holler. You know what I'm saying? So not to knock to them. You just can't do it. And like I say, man, it be people. I know some brothers, man, they got some zeal, but they just never really do what they say they gonna do. And that's just the truth. Just like how I say this. I deal in reality. Right? If I know some Muslims who don't really read hadiths, or don't really study, or don't really read no books like that, and they talking about, yeah, man, we need to get all the Muslims together and we need to just get together and have a good time and talk and have fun. Because that's the only thing that they could do. They don't read no books. They don't study for real. And then they don't want the ones who's going to do that there. So I don't knock that. But if I say something like, hey, won't you tell them to, read some books, this, that, and the third, that's not really going to be that appealing to them. They'll do the Hollywood talk with me. But that ain't that appealing to them because they don't read no books. I'm just being honest. So like for instance, me, just like us, we always have late night sessions. We also have other classes. Like I say, I don't put them on YouTube. They have to force me to put certain things on YouTube so that they could go back to it. And then also it could be some benefit for people they know that don't take the classes, see. So I really do it for them. A lot of stuff I really keep off of here because of the people in this city. Because there's going to be some whining and pouting and calling this one and calling that one. Wallahi, I don't even know where, to be honest with you, it's maybe like one or two I actually know where they live at. I don't know what the inside of their house look like. Nothing. I don't know what their furniture look like or nothing. And I could say something in a video and they'll swear up and down. They'll almost say, wallahi, I'm talking about the inside of their house. I don't even know where these fools live at. Don't even care to know. But then it's going to always be one of these older cats in the community called, man, dude keep calling me, man, pouting, talking about you said this and said that. All I'm going to do is say so, and if it applied to him, that's just because it applied to him. You know what I'm saying? And then if I am being specific and talking to him, then it's a conversation that we had. You best believe it's a conversation that when we were sitting around each other, it's the exact same conversation they heard from my mouth, either on the phone or in person, either in a group full of people or one-on-one. You best believe if it do apply to them, they first time hearing it ain't on here. You understand? So that's why, man. That's why. And it ain't no knock to them, man. Everybody, it just ain't for everybody, man. Everybody really not into it. Like it's certain people, not even just here, but certain people I'm connected to. We could be talking about doing some studying and this and that, man, and we'll have a book and we'll have some papers. And then let's say homework was due in January of this year. All right, man, here go your homework, man. Turn your homework in, let me grade it. Tomorrow, like October the 1st. I ain't seen one question of their homework. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, I need you to teach me this. I need you to show me that. And see, I just hate when I get to the point with people where I just be like, all right, man, yeah, I feel you. Because, like I say, just talking is a thing, man. It's just a thing. And people just sitting around, and they might have the books, and then they sitting around enough people to know that they ain't read nothing, so they could trick them into thinking they read it. And me being around is a problem, because not only have I read the book, like I done did the homework, I done studied it, and wallahi, a strong possibility, I done taught the book to numerous people. So they can't do that to me. And then people, oh man, I'm studying this, I'm reading this, and woo out the woo. And then I just be like, oh, okay, I got you. So, answer this question for me. And then I ask them a question that's on like page 2 of the book. But they don't know it's on page 2 of the book. And they can't answer it. But they trying to convince me that they reading it. And it's not to test them. You know what I'm saying? It's just like how we do. Man, what you on? What you working on? Oh, man, I'm reading this, and this. And then we'll start building on the book. It'll lead to Islamic conversations. You ask them a question, they'll just make up something. Be like, oh, okay, alhamdulillah. Still ain't studying. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to be offensive. It's you. I ain't going to sit up and be like, hey, where that homework at? I've been waiting on that homework since like April, baby. What's going on? Oh, man, I need you to teach me something else. We need to work on this, work on that. So, it's just a lot of talking. It's just a lot of talking, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's, and like with us, and like for some of y'all who y'all done met other people through me over here, and we done met out of town with some other people, and I done met some of y'all people, we get to it, man. Just like what we doing right now, this is what we do. Some of them, they can't interact with this, man. And it's unfortunate, and they gonna feel how they feel, but they know I'm not lying. You know what I'm saying? It's just some more stuff, like I say, with the callers to the way the call that the Rasul was sent with. Islam was sent to clean up the filth, baby. It's the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran to stop the people from intoxicants. Man, this is haram. This leads to the hellfire. They attacked the Rasul. They wanted him and all his companions dead. You sit down and do the exact same thing, it's a problem. They're going to defend the stuff that go against Islam and then condemn the person who's not really into that. Ain't nobody going to be perfect. Everybody going to have some type of sins, but the difference is they not the same sins, and they not extremely public. If you known throughout the whole city as being fake, phony, and a scammer and full of ribble, that's your name in the town. You know what I'm saying? If you known for being a pill popping junkie, this, that, and the third, and you Muslim, just like, wallahi, this is today. Brother, I ain't never seen the day of my life, right? I walk into, because see, to keep it 100, people starting to tie Islam to some black stuff. So you got Moors, and then you got certain Hebrew Israelites. They'll salam you instead of saying shalom, because it's just a greeting to them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going up to this store to get me some little snacks and stuff to run up to, I'm on my way to work. And I'm seeing this brother sitting up in there, brother smelling like a fifth. Right? He's smelling like a fifth. I ain't paying no attention now. You know, I always got something on that identify me with the dean. So I got my kufi and stuff on. I got work clothes. You know, my hoodies, they got either Hadith Disciple, Athar Institute, something. You know what I'm saying? Muslimatic. So he see my kufi and stuff in my hoodie. So, you know, the brother was like, Assalamu alaikum. So I'm used to that because, you know, like I say, the gang stuff, man. Vice Lords and Stones, they gonna salam you. It's just from the gang, man. So I'm etiquette over rhetoric. So, you know, he smelling like a whole fifth. He in there. He like, man, Assalamu alaikum. I was like, wa alaikum salam. He was like, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And then that kind of caught me off. I said, okay. He know a little bit more than the average. But, you know, he smelling like a fifth. You know, I shook his hand like this and that, and he arguing with the people in there. But then he had that little look. You know what I'm saying? Like my dean ain't up to par, but I ain't really know him. And I really want to sit back and be like, hey, I just wish I had some place like, hey, come get with me on another day, this and that. But he in there arguing, going off about some stuff with his card. Had them call the owner. Like, wallahi, they had to get the owner on FaceTime. He arguing with the owner on FaceTime about some stuff he couldn't understand. But he sitting up there saucy. He smelling like a fifth. He Muslim. And they hear him salam me. And because they look like Arabs, I think he thought they was... He think they... Like, everybody think anybody that look that way is Arabs. A lot of these people be Sikhs. Or the people who wear the red dots on their forehead. Them Hindus. These people ain't even Muslim. And in their countries, they fight the Muslims. So sometimes by you trying to run that little lingo on them, thinking because they look Arab or Indian or something like that, you thinking that they Muslim and you trying to run on them, but they really, Muslims is their enemies in their country. So they playing on you. But, you know, it's a beautiful thing and it's a sad thing because to see a Muslim, and not on a judgmental thing, but he's sitting up there drunk. You know, he's standing, he wearing like this, and it's like 2:30. You know what I'm saying? It's like 2:30 in the afternoon. My man saucy. Driving around, whipping a roll, in there arguing with these people, man. Over $15. That they overcharged them, but they overcharged him on his card. So the money, so they reverse it to go back to his card. Whatever was going on, they tell him to call his bank. But, you know, it just blew my mind, man. Like, what's the extent of our Islam? You know what I'm saying? It's breaking my heart to see that. And like I say, some of the stuff I talk about, it's easy for me to do because I've been it. I've been a Muslim that sold dope. I've been a Muslim who used to drink. I was a Muslim who smoked weed. I accepted Islam at 13, 14 years old. I had girlfriends. I gang bang. So I know what's to it. You know what I'm saying? Generally, like, a person who been locked up and been in jail and been shot and all that, those be the people that they come speak to, that they want to speak to the youth, right? Because they been through it. I could talk to y'all about it. I know how to come up out of it. You know what I'm saying? So some conversations that be out of love, they can't see it, man, because they so far away from the path, man. Muslim is not the new cool for me. But we got to get our prayers in, man. Man, it's been a pleasure, man. You know, we going to do what we do. And perhaps, man, like I say, man, no disrespect to them, but some of them just not ready, man. They don't do this. You know what I'm saying? They don't do this. Even down to extremely basic level. They just don't do it, man. Arabic, nothing. They just don't. You know, I ain't trying to knock them. We'll be getting together, man, like we get to it. We get to it, man. They just don't do it. And they not interested in doing it, man. You know, you can't. And that's why, like, I had YouTube when I was going down there doing them classes. I never went down there and tried to record not one single bit of it. You know what I'm saying? Because, one, I knew how much stupidity and foolishness was going to go on in there from people who wasn't even there for the class. And that's why I be saying, y'all not even here for the class. But the people who sitting down taking notes, they can't even really absorb it because people who ain't taking the class can't shut their stupid mouth. And you don't do nothing. You don't read, you don't study, you don't take no classes, you don't do nothing. But you just interrupting the class for other people because you don't want them to learn enough to know that you don't know nothing. Then want to go get somebody else who don't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? And bringing certain people up in there, boy, probably need to be in prostration like an angel. You know how they say, man, the angels be in prostration, man, to the day Yom Kippur, man. You want to go grab people, man, and come up in there, man, they need to go somewhere and be in prostration from Asr to Maghrib. You know what I'm saying? You probably need to be in prostration, man, from 12 midnight to the Adhan go off for Fajr. But you want to bring them in, man, and they want to run around with all this foolishness, man. But I'm telling you, you put them in a room, they sit in a room with us, they going to shrivel. They not going to be comfortable, man. Because it ain't for play. This ain't that jail, solemn say. It ain't that weird stuff, man. This real deen we talking, man. But, assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi, man. Wa barakatuhu. I love y'all brothers, man. And, I appreciate y'all being Sahabas, man. Well, you know, we can't use the word Sahaba according to certain people because Sahaba don't mean companions. It just means people who was around the Rasul. So I'm going to say my companions, Sahabi. I ain't going to say Sahabis, my Sahabis, my companions. I appreciate y'all being companions, man. You know, for somebody hit me up on Telegram with they tool. Hey, man, we wasn't feeling that up. Man, go make prostration till Fajr. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.